So what do you have the kids doing on this holiday? What's taking up their time? What's distracting them? Roblox?
Well, Eleanor and Ellie are doing something on their iPad. And Pete is watching YouTube, I'm sure.
Damn, they should go by Ella and Ellie.
They call her Elle Bell. And that's what some of us call Ellie.
Who did it first? That's the question.
Well, Eleanor is older, so.
Well, it looks like they did it first then. And I'm sorry. Even if it was your idea.
Yeah.
Just like Sex in the City, where that woman stole Charlotte's baby name.
Oh, what was the name? Do you remember?
No, I wish I did for the sake of this conversation so I could really impress with my SATC knowledge.
Yeah, what was it? Gosh.
Shayla was the stupid name. What a terrible name.
Oh, really bad. Shayla.
Was that popular at the time in the late 90s?
Probably. But it doesn't seem like a very traditional name that Charlotte would choose.
When did Brooklyn become a popular name? When did everyone start naming their fucking kid Brooklyn?
Well, remember it was like celebrities that did it first. It was like Victoria Beckham, and then it was Jessica Simpson's sister and her like Pete Wentz or something. Didn't they name a kid Brooklyn?
It's funny that you bring up that Brooklyn Beckham because that movie I was watching today, Hugo.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I was late to the recording because Hugo was on Showtime and I wanted to finish watching Hugo, directed by Martin Scorsese, about a young orphan boy who's got a heart of gold but misunderstood, and in the search of his own identity, he helps save an old man.
Okay.
And that man's identity, who happens to be a great filmmaker of the past, who did the Trip to the Moon movie.
Oh, okay.
Where the man with the pie face has a rocket crash into it.
Right.
So anyway, the girl in that movie, whose name I cannot remember, at some point she was associated with Brooklyn Beckham.
Oh, well, he's like an actor now?
Is he?
He's in something.
That guy. Not to say that nepotism doesn't pay off. There are plenty of actors, obviously, who have successful careers after their parents were successful. But someone like this Brooklyn Beckham, I feel as though only got the opportunities he got because of who he is or who his parents are. There's no way, looking at this one picture, I can tell, not a good actor. Zero way this guy knows how to act.
Well, he's really hot, right?
I don't know if you call him really hot. His head actually gets larger the closer it gets to the top. So it's like a V. Is that hot? And he's always got those squinty eyes like he's stoned.
Well, that's hot face, right? Like,
And it seems like he shaves lines in his eyebrows.
Oh.
The hairstyle he's chosen does not complement his V face at all. He parts it in the middle and it flops over to the sides. So,
ooh, like butt cut?
So it adds to the V-ness.
Yeah, he accentuates the V.
There's no way this guy's
He's
an
proud
actor.
of the V.
What has this guy been in? Here he is wearing a Newsy outfit. Was he in Newsies at some point?
Maybe he just thinks that that's what people wear in Brooklyn, New York.
Jesus Christ, he was born in 99.
Wow.
I'm going after a child here.
No, you're not.
It felt like a contemporary. Someone who's 24 feels like a child.
Yeah.
And I'm just a mean old man going after a child. Modeling. I'm a modeler. And then he is a photographer.
Oh, shut up.
And cooking. Okay, this guy he's not good at anything, is what I'm starting to figure out here. Because if you look at his career, it's modeling, photography, cooking. He's just jumping from one thing to another, things he thinks sound cool that could get him, a bit of notoriety and a bit of fame. He has an online video series, Cooking with Brooklyn, and it attracted criticism when it was revealed that it took 62 professionals to create each episode at a reported cost of $100,000 per episode. And then critics also pointed out that Beckham has no professional experience or training in cooking, which that one I don't care about so much. Plenty of people can cook and don't have professional training or experience.
Sure.
That one's a little snooty to me. You didn't go to the French Culinary Institute like I did.
Well, maybe I was wrong about him being like an actor. For some reason, I thought he was doing some movie, but...
And it wouldn't be... Look, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he did try.
Yeah.
We can always expand his Wikipedia. That's the beauty of Wikipedia. You go in and it's... the creators own it. We own it.
Yeah, but then aren't those weird people that monitor it?
you certainly have the mods who get some kind of alert the moment something has changed in one of their articles.
Mm-hmm.
Because I read something nasty about a hockey player once, Ovechkin. He was playing for the Washington Capitals, and they had eliminated the New York Rangers in the playoffs, and he's missing a tooth. Or at the time he was, at least. This was years and years ago. I can't even remember what it was. It was actually somewhat clever, I felt.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was.
But I read something about him and his tooth, and honestly, within 3 minutes, it was changed back. And then I think that there's like a history log that you can go look at. And the person will explain why they made the change they did. And it was something like, this is not true. False information.
Pete is FaceTiming me.
Unbelievable.
Yes?
Hi, Mom.
What are you doing?
Can I please make a sandwich?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.
That was so cute.
That was so manipulative.
Why?
At the end. The
he
I love you thrown in there as an afterthought. No, here's what it was like. I'm getting off. I got what I wanted. It was an afterthought. It's like, oh, but if I need to maintain this dynamic, I need to throw this in there. Oh, wait.
I don't think so.
I almost forgot. I love you. Bye.
Why? He should have said that first. And then to like butter me up to ask me for something.
No, that's the master manipulator. An amateur would throw it in there first. They reveal their hand at the start.
He's a good boy. He loves me.
He's still playing those cards tight, holding them close to the vest.
That's right. Breast your cards, gentlemen.
All right. I guess we can officially start. Oops.
Whoa.
It's in the same position as the button I pressed to start the theme. It's just
funny how you're like, let's start.
It's just a different bank. I didn't change it to the correct sound bank. And the color's the same. It's a red button.
No one's blaming you. I thought it was funny.
Well, I've done it several times.
Out.
In the past, and I also hate that theme is preloaded onto this mixer.
Oh yeah.
It's like, is anyone using it?
It's a great theme.
Is anyone using this? Like, if you're using this for your show, then other people are like, what the fuck? I know where that came from.
Yeah.
That was preloaded onto the Rodecaster. You loser.
Monica.
Very 90s sounding.
Well, it sounds like the very like. Then like the scene would start. Monica, I can't find Rachel's earring. Did you try looking for it? I did, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
And then the door flies open and Joey comes in, and he's like, I am hungry.
He's always hungry. And look, she hands him she's already made him a sandwich.
And then he bites into it, and it's some kind of meat he doesn't like.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ.
The sandwich was poisoned.
With what? What would you even poison a person with?
Windex.
Is that poison? I mean, it is. I wouldn't drink
so.
Windex, but if you just sprayed someone's sandwich with one mist of Windex, would it kill them?
I don't know. I think maybe over time. I think wasn't that in The Sixth Sense? Wasn't she like putting Windex in her kids' oatmeal or something?
I don't remember anything about The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense.
Only the twist. Which, when it was revealed, I was like, what a fucking idiot. Why didn't I pick up on that?
I knew it from the start. Not from the start, but like less than halfway through, I was like, I know what's going on.
Well, good for you.
But I also went in knowing there was a twist. So I don't think I would have, if I had just gone in cold and it hadn't been such a big deal, then I probably wouldn't have like thought anything about it.
I can't remember if I knew if there was a twist or not. But I do remember not trying to figure it out. Because,
to have fun.
I was able to let go and let the movie wash over me in the intended manner, the way the director, the artiste, M. Night Shyamalan, wanted the movie.
What's his name?
That's it.
It's not M.
Yeah, it is.
It's EMM.
M, just the letter M.
Yeah, what is it? He's probably just like Mitchell Night Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Oh yeah, if you look it up, it's an Indian name, so that's probably why he moved away from it, because he knew that Americans couldn't pronounce it. And
you know what can you pronounce
it?
No,
I'm not even trying. Just look it up. It's a very quick thing. M. Night Shyamalan. Mm-hmm. Real name. Full name. Like it's close enough. The night isn't in there, but who cares?
Oh, like Manoj?
There are people who have normal names and they still change them for Hollywood.
Manoj Neliatu Shyamalan.
Just like I had to change my name to Decker.
You did, because your name is so hard to pronounce. I get it.
No, because my name wasn't nearly cool enough for a rock radio station filled with a bunch of people who had names that were weed references. My name's...
Except for mine. Yours and mine both were not weed references.
My name's Dank. I'm Roach. I'm Schwag. What the
Ew.
fuck?
Why would you want to be named Schwag?
How old were we? 22. We were right there in that wheelhouse, and I still thought that was embarrassing. 96.7 The Buzz. My uncle bought me a radio station. We broadcast out of my uncle's garage. But if you look at the bottom of the website, you see in big letters, Clear Channel Communications.
I never really thought much, like I wasn't embarrassed by that. I just thought, oh, this is just how radio is done. Like this is the bullshit that they do.
I didn't
really.
Yeah, I didn't mind the story behind the station so much.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're only going to attract a certain type of listener at that point. Idiots who think it's cool because some stoner has a radio station. But, that station existed in the first place not to win. It was just, hey, take a little bit of 99X's ratings away so 96 Rock looks better. And then we don't give a shit what the station does. That's why
kind of fun.
That's why we're putting these. Yeah, look, it's how we all got to start because they weren't going to pay anyone. So it's like, who's stupid enough to go work for free? Oh, these kids.
No, we got paid.
These kids so desperate to be on the radio. It wasn't a lot.
No, it wasn't. But it was something for me. I was like, okay, yay.
When you're doing a full-time shift and you're making like $16,000 a year for everything.
Oh, that's true.
Like that's what I make. We'll get into your topic. But that's what I make now doing the radio show, the Von Hessler Doctrine. I make like an extra $15,000 to $16,000 a year. That was my annual salary when I first started in radio. And look, I know that we've talked about it before recently about how the pay in radio stinks.
Right.
But for extra money, for doing 3 hours a week or something, it's like not so bad.
Not bad. And being so young, it's like whatever.
No, I'm talking about now. Not then. Not then.
The radio show.
I don't know how the fuck I made anything work back then. I had a rent that was $814 a month, which now isn't that much. But back then, I was like, how the fuck was I paying that?
I think about that too. I remember finally paying to get a good haircut and it being like $32 at the mall. And then when I was sort of more broke, I guess, I was looking back on all those times I got $32 haircuts and I was like, oh, I could have saved so much money. I wish I had that money now. $32?
Yeah, I mean, compared to Great Clips, though, that's double the price or something.
Right.
Actually, I don't know what did Great Clips cost for a woman's haircut?
Probably 12. Right.
It was the same as a man's?
Oh, I thought maybe the man's was 8.
Oh, maybe you're right. See, I don't even remember the prices because 12 is so cheap for me.
Right. Oh, so cheap.
Well, it's $12.
I know.
There was a point in my life, sure, the $12 for the haircut. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know. And then you got a tip on top of it. Ugh.
The last paid haircut I got, I just went to a salon that was around the corner from my apartment. Mm-hmm. And because it was there, and I'm just going to go here. Maybe I should have asked this up front. It wasn't clear what a man's haircut cost. Like these places are geared towards women.
Right.
And it's like we do men's haircuts, but it's a bit vague. And it's like, whatever. It was like $120 haircut. And then I had to tip on top of it.
For just your haircut?
For just my hair.
Oh, no. That's too much.
It was, similar to the belt that I wore for years. I was proud of my haircut streak where I hadn't paid for a haircut since like 2010. And so at that point, it was after COVID and things reopened. So it had been over 10 years since I paid for a haircut. And I happened to go get a haircut that cost $120 fucking dollars. I guess you average it out, it was pretty cheap. Pretty cheap haircut.
I guess so. But man, it's a lot.
I don't think it was worth it. I don't think it was much different than the haircut I give myself.
No, with curly hair, it is very different.
I mean, it was all the same length when it was cut. That's probably nice and probably not something I do when I cut my own hair, but
it doesn't matter with curly hair.
I know it's masked.
Yeah.
If you straightened it.
Right. Then you'd notice, but no one's going to do that.
Maybe I should maybe I should settle on a look. I mean, I've had a look. Maybe I should settle on a new look and pay someone to cut my hair to maintain that look. What could I even do? What else could I do with my hair?
You could get it
the possibilities are endless.
Permed so that it's straight.
Shut up.
I'm just saying. I'm just giving you options.
I want real options. I need the real answers here.
Well, what's wrong with the haircuts you have?
Maybe there's something else I can do with it to make it a little more stylish. Maybe I could.
Like put some product in it, maybe.
I don't know if I want product. I guess you have to put product. Most people who have certain hairstyles have product, don't they?
Well, yeah, because you could enhance what you have naturally if you added a product that like organized your curls, I guess. If you're interested in doing something like that.
Yeah, I needed to look like Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to look like. I need Ruffalo's hair in like the movie Begin Again. Did you see that
You could go to a salon that
with a picture
and find somebody that specializes in curly hair and then get their advice on what to do.
Okay, I could do that. I thought you were going to tell me to take like a magazine clipping and with a picture of Ruffalo and be like, hey, I want this. Speaking of friends to open up the show, like people used to do with Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, right. And get the Rachel.
I think at that point, they didn't even have to bring in the magazine though, right?
Yeah, you just say the Rachel.
And everyone knew. And they rolled their eyes and they were sick of it probably. But
I bet.
Bringing in a magazine clipping would be so embarrassing. Oh, actually, maybe at this point it'd be funny and endearing if it's folded up in your pocket and you have trouble getting it out. Instead of just
You've been carrying it around for so long.
Yeah, instead of just showing it on the phone. I want my look to be this other person's look. I would like to mimic, please.
Mimic, please.
Okay, I'll cut your hair. What a weird career. What a strange. Because it's quite the skill, isn't it?
Well, it's yeah. You can sort of if you're experienced enough, then you can sort of see what's going on in someone's hair. You know, like I can tell that they have round layers. You know, I don't know what that means, but
I don't either. I have no clue. But to be able to properly cut hair and to have a vision, and then use a person's head as your palette, as your canvas, I should say. Your palette
palette.
Yeah, your palette is your blue thing that's got the combs in it. The blue liquid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it.
Scary. Especially, well, I think cutting seems a lot easier. It's the color that would really freak me out. Because when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't, I feel like I would panic at the disco.
Well, the good thing with hair is nobody wants a bad haircut, bad color, especially if you have long hair. It's going to take quite a while, but it grows back. Think about giving someone a bad tattoo, fucking up their tattoo. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
God, I love those pictures of people with terrible tattoos. there's so many like misspelled things or like.
Do you think some of that's on purpose?
Well, I guess I was thinking no, but then those like gutter punks would do something stupid like that.
You know, the one that's no regrets. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's on purpose.
Yeah, but there are ones that it's like, you know, it's someone's name that's spelled wrong, or you know, a word that they don't mean to spell wrong, like moment, you know, where it's like 2 M's for some reason, or it just looks like it happened on someone's couch in a dirty basement.
Which may have been where it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in on my friend Gianna once getting a tattoo that her roommate was giving her.
Oof.
Not a tattoo artist.
No.
Just like poking her with his needle, a sewing needle or something.
Yeah, one of those, what are they called? Like stick and poke tattoos or something?
It's like, okay, you're doing this. This is sure.
How did it look?
I mean, it was something very simple.
Mm-hmm.
That consisted of a couple lines. So it was fine, I guess. I can't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't as bad as you would think, but it's also because it was simple. And if you looked, you're like, oh yeah, there's no straight lines here. You can see all the little pokes. But I guess it's a memory.
I would maybe do something like that if it was very small and very simple, because then the whole point would be like, we did this to ourselves. Like I did this on you and you did this on me, and it's kind of cute. But I would never say, oh, this is definitely like, go ahead and work on this design that I'm real excited about with your tattoo gun that you made out of a VCR.
Out of a VCR.
Yeah, that's what people did before Amazon.
What components in the VCR were used to make a tattoo gun?
I have no idea. I just know that people would make, like gutter punks would like make a tattoo gun out of VCR parts.
I'm trying to look up a schematic. VCR tattoo gun.
Is it real?
I just want to know the way it's done.
Did I make it up?
I made the homemade tattoo machine out of a VCR player.
VCR player?
Yes. Did you think you were making it up?
No, I was just worried. You know how like you have faith in what you're saying, and then somebody looks it up and it's like not right at all. You're like, oh man, where'd I get that? No, but I was right. I did it.
Yeah, I don't know the basics. I would like to know the basics so I could explain them on the air, but I can't. I don't think I'm going to have time to look this up on the fly and explain it, so people are going to have to look up their own homemade VCR tattoo guns.
I don't think people are even that interested.
No, I'm somewhat interested. Like, what components? Yeah. Why a VCR? What does a VCR offer that lends itself to making a proper tattoo gun? Maybe I shouldn't say proper, but to a
yeah, I think it was probably just something accessible that maybe was hitting the right time where it wasn't too expensive. But before the internet was as integrated as it is now. Passed down from degenerate to degenerate.
I wonder how many people, have they done studies? They must have done studies. How many people later in life are still happy with the tattoos they got? Not necessarily that they got tattoos. I'm not trying to make that point. But the reason I shied away from it, and it's like, I don't know what I would want like forever. Yeah. Like, there's things that I like now that I have to assume that I'm not going to like later. And some of the ideas I had, maybe I bring up schematic. I always like the look of schematics. But what schematic would I get? And that would still be there, and would I still want it? And I guess some kind of a math equation.
Yeah, that'd be like cute and nerdy.
Yeah, but again, it's like, okay, I've had this thing for decades now. How do I feel about it? Maybe I'd still like it. I don't know. I can't say. Or a box on my hand, on the palm of my hand. That way it was like a frame, and I could draw inside the frame.
That cool? Would be kind of cool to have something like that on your arm, you know, where you could just like show off your shoulder and then people can draw things inside the frame. That's cute.
Someone must have done it.
I like that.
There are no original ideas. Someone must have done it. So anyway, I mean, you don't like your tattoos.
No, I'm fine with them now. I go back and forth. I was never like, oh, I regret doing this. It was more like, there was a time when I thought, I think I would not have gotten these, but I didn't look at them and wish they were gone. Do you know what I mean? Just like, I might have made a different decision, but now I'm fine. I kind of think they're cool.
Okay, that makes sense.
I kind of want another one.
What would you get?
I don't know. Something really pretty.
Well, it's a very subjective thing. Some people
I know.
think,
Well, that's why I'm not doing it. Because A, it's a lot of money, and B, I don't know what it would be. So I just have like the mood, like the feeling of what it would be, but I don't know what it is. You know, like I said, pretty, delicate, thin lines.
You could take Ellie. You could be that mother who brings her daughter. It's like, we're going to get tattoos together. Come on, daughter, pick something. How old's your daughter? Oh, she's 9. I give permission. Okay.
Yeah, I'm her mother.
And she doesn't want anything, but you're forcing it on her.
Come on. This butterfly that is on the wall, it's meaningful to us, right? Butterflies, you remember? Oh, let's do it.
In the same way people say, you must give a circumcision when they're a baby, or pierce their ears when they're a baby so they don't remember. Similarly, you should give tattoos when they're infants. Like that way that didn't hurt. They didn't even remember.
Well, that thinking, I think, is logical. If we're going to say, oh, we'll do this while they're young, when they don't remember. Well, if tattoos were, and a lot of societies have tattoos on, not necessarily kids, but meaningful tattoos as far as like going into manhood or becoming a woman or something, like, is it the Maori that have the tattoo on their chins? Wait, no, that might be like,
get it
that might
together.
Be like Inuits or something.
Get it to know your cultures.
Sorry.
You're really
But I think the Maori do have something on their chins. Oh yeah, it's not the lines, it's like designs. Anyway. So.
You give your kid a bad name, at least they can change it at some point. You give them a bad tattoo when they're born. Too bad.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, hold on. Yes, Peter.
I don't know where the bonton is.
Oh, there's only one piece of chicken left.
Can I have it?
Yeah.
Where is it though?
In the fridge.
I can't.
Oh, it's in the container.
It's in the container? I don't know where the container is.
There's 2 white circle containers.
Like, can you help me find it?
I can't. I'm doing a show right this second. Listen to me. There's 2 circle containers like this.
Mm-hmm.
And underneath it is a container like this. And you open it up and there's one in there. Ask Ellie for help. She'll help you. Okay, sorry.
I don't think that's going to go well. And then she's going to win the last piece of chicken, and they're going to fight over it.
Uh-oh. I hope not.
Ask Elliot to show you the last piece of chicken. I want it.
He's a hungry boy. I think he's growing.
I want it.
Chicken.
So anyway, we're fucking however many minutes into the show. What's your topic? You had a topic. We haven't even gotten to the topic.
I did have
like
a topic.
30 minutes into the show.
Yeah, I was at the library with the kids, and I was just glancing around at all the books, not just in the kids section, but especially in the kids section. There were so many, like, kind of empowerment books, it felt like.
Quick question before we get into this. Do you think libraries should still exist?
Yeah. It's for kids and for adults who don't have a computer.
I agree. I'm just wondering about the future of libraries with everything being online now and people moving to ebooks and shit like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the service.
Libraries are good, especially if I remember being in college, and I don't think I necessarily needed anything from the library except for a quiet space to be, and not bothered.
They could still set up a room like that. Like, this is the quiet car on the train. It's similar to that. Even though people don't follow those rules. Like, hey, you're on the quiet car. I don't give a shit. I'm talking to my friend. I'm going to have a conversation. And then the conductor comes through and tells them to be quiet. Then they get all defensive.
Okay. But plenty of libraries are still quiet and are really nice places to sit, and like especially for kids, they have little activities for them, and little classes where they bring out a puppet or they all like dance around or something. So it is nice to bring like Ellie loves reading just in general, but she especially loves like the comic books. So like the Babysitters Clubs and not necessarily like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but that type of thing. And
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, not that, not graphic novels just yet. But so it's really nice to go there and check out books for her to read in a day because she goes through them so fast. It would suck to have to like buy her books all the time.
That's cool that they're interested in books.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't have to do anything.
It's always the funding for libraries that they want to slash in budgets, which when you ever look at like city budgets, even towns, I assume, but it's a thing here in New York where they're talking about slashing the New York Public Library budget. And I agree. It's like, why would the fuck would you do that? Just why? Why go after the libraries? There's already not that much money there. But when you look at the overall budget, and this is just for illustrative purposes, like we need $300 million. We're at a deficit. Cut the library's budget, and it gets them like $1 million. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, that's not even helping you. At those numbers, you get an extra $1 million. It's like,
then what?
Yeah. They always go after those programs. The national government does the same thing with like PBS. Slash it. Slash. It's like you give them $800,000 a year to begin with. So you take your $800,000 back. What the fuck are you going to do with it? Morons. But look, I did something. I helped. I was looking at the budget, and I helped get us closer to the number we needed to be at by taking this service that most people seem... I bet if you ask most people, do you like the library? They'd say yes, even if they never go.
Yeah, it's a legacy. And it's important, honestly, because it is important to have. If we don't have access to something like that, then maybe some people would never be able to, like, if there are parents who are struggling with just living their lives and making ends meet, they can't, and their daughter or their son is really into reading, and they can't afford to get them books all the time. So it's like, yeah, go to the library and check out as many books as you want.
Though, as you were saying, these days, the reading material is shifting to self-empowerment.
Yes.
which you... For whatever, I get when you're putting, well, I'll let you tell what these books are. When they're winding up on a children's shelf, it is strange to me.
Yeah. Okay. So in the adult section, of course, it just seems like the ones that they were displaying that were facing outward, like enticing you to come read them, were a little bit more empowering and like,
So what were they? What were some of these books?
I can't remember the adult ones, but because the ones that really struck me were in the kids section. And again, all the ones that were facing outward to entice probably just the parents to come get them for their kids were books like I Believe I Can. And it's like a picture of two African-American kids on the front looking very like serious. And then another book of let's see, Be Kind. And it's a girl with an umbrella and a girl without, and she's like holding the umbrella over the girl with out the umbrella. Just Like Me. Hair Love, where it's like you have to embrace your natural kinky hair.
So you're saying a lot of these were directed towards the Black community?
Well, no, not all of them. It was just, those were the ones. Oh, well, I don't mean to keep bringing up Black people.
Well, that's seemingly what you had a problem with.
My Racist Dog.
Wait, that's a real book?
Yeah. Because you know how like dogs will bark at Black people sometimes more than others?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I guess they brought that up for kids.
So what is the point of the book? What do you do with your racist dog?
I don't know. I guess it's more like, don't worry, you're not racist. It's just the dogs are responding to, I don't know what.
Do people who own racist dogs feel as though they're racists?
Well, I mean, I've heard people say the dog, it's not, the dog's not racist. It's its owners that have sort of given the dog subtle cues as to who is a danger, which is not true. I mean, I'm sure that is true in some cases, obviously, but dogs just, I don't know. It could honestly just be the color, right? Is like a darker, for them, whatever their eyesight is, like maybe it's just a darker color and they're like, I mean, my dog barks at the big trash can that's outside sometimes because it's like a big menacing dark color. And so maybe he thinks, he doesn't bark at every black person. I'm just saying some dogs bark at black people.
Yeah, you're really drowning yourself there. You just, hanging yourself.
I know.
That's what you have a tendency to do. You bring up these issues, then it's like you can't fully commit in a way because you have to watch your words. And then you...
No, I am committing in a way. That's why I'm burying myself, because I'm trying to be honest.
I mean, doing a quick search on it, it does say that quite often a dog's negative reactions can be chalked up to improper socialization. I can't speak to this. I don't know what's really going on, but they're saying dogs raised in homogenous communities with limited access to the world may be hesitant, sometimes aggressive in the presence of seeing someone new. So the dog's behavior...
But he's been around all these people his whole life.
The dog's behavior reflects the segregated ways in which many Americans still live.
Okay.
Going back to these books, these messages have always existed.
Your body is awesome.
And a move to include other types of people in works of fiction. I don't know why anyone has a problem with that. Some people seemingly do. But I feel as though quite often the messages that these books push were embedded in the story that was told. So
I'm not against these sort of issues or things being brought up to your kids or with your kids. It just felt real propaganda-y. And I'm very much for, if a child is having issues with her like kinky hair because she's embarrassed about it or something, or feels like it doesn't look like the other kids that it's like, no, let's help that kid embrace what is coming from her naturally, her natural beauty. I'm fine with that. It just feels like exploitative of a real issue. I would rather it be brought up at home, by by someone who's not profiting off of this.
Well, that's a whole other, you're on a whole other path here now, which is, the exploitation of anything for the gain of profit.
Yeah, it just it like gave me just a grossed out feeling. Like there are a lot of books that include all different types of kids. And it's not like, so there's one called Sophia Valdez or something like that. Sophia Valdez Sophia Valdez Future Prez. And it's a great rhyme. It's a great book. It's got a really great rhyming scheme that's really fun to read. But she's just like a Hispanic kid, and it's not brought up that she's Hispanic. It's not like, and because she's Hispanic, it was just part of the story. And I prefer the less heavy-handed approach, and it just exposing kids to different types of kids, and not doing it like, you see this, we're exposing you to different types of kids.
I agree.
Because then it just turns into like an exercise instead of just a organic experience.
I agree that that's the way to go, that it's going to be more impactful ultimately. Yeah. Because what I was saying before is, as a kid, for a long time, you don't think about those things. I guess if you are around, parents who are racist and explicitly call that out,
right,
then you're going to have, preconceived. Well, you're going to have your feelings, and you're probably going to end up racist yourself. But for the most part, I think kids who are just existing, similar to the way when I first learned about, my friend who was black facing really shitty things because he was black. It's like that was a lot to grasp, and I never even thought that something like that would exist. And I think that's part of the problem is these people who are going to put someone down because of their skin color or their gender, whatever it is, are going to exist. So you have to set people up properly to counter that or know what to do when they come across it. But in general, I feel like just presenting people of all types and all colors in everyday situations has more of an impact on kids because then it is representative and the kid's not thinking on those terms. And, somebody says, I'm going to be president, and they're a Hispanic woman, that, your kid at the point's not going to think it's a weird thing.
Right. They're going to be like, whoa, Hispanic. They're like, oh, okay, that's Sofia Valdez. That's it.
And I do think that's important for kids to be exposed to, but it does get to this level. And what are you supposed to do? Because again, there are always going to be people, right, who are racist, who are prejudiced, and you're going to encounter that in life. So you also have to prepare your children for that properly.
Yeah. This is not the same, but Ellie had a crappy teacher this year for her 3rd grade. And I spoke with the teacher a little bit, not about the teacher's behavior, but just about like the problems that Ellie was having in the classroom and stuff. And I didn't do anything really about it because I kind of felt like, no, it sucks. But go through this year having to struggle with your teacher because there are going to be people in your life that you're going to have to work with and it's going to suck. And you have to get used to things sucking sometimes.
Well, I feel like that's the side that's not really taught as much anymore. It's like if somebody makes you feel bad, they're the bad person, which sure, if somebody comes after you for absolutely no reason, it makes you feel terrible, then yeah, they are a bad person.
Oh, if she was like verbally accosting Ellie, like I would of course do something, but she just was a crappy teacher. People have had her before that I know and said, yeah, oh, she's the worst, So I was like, okay, well, we'll just get through this year and she'll have a different teacher next year. She'll just deal with it, But yeah, there are going to be sucky things in life and you have to let your kids be exposed to that too, because they have to get used to that because that is life.
Is there an idea that, and this is more rhetorical, but you can certainly give your opinion. Is there an idea that can be eradicated? Do people really think that somehow you're going to rid the world of negative experiences and negative people?
I think people are just so overprotective of their kids and maybe themselves, with all the talk about things being offensive. It's like, just because you're offended doesn't mean, to me personally, I just, okay, I'm offended. I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, it doesn't become your mission, your problem to solve.
Yeah, it's weird that people feel like they have to never feel anything negative.
I don't know why there's such a low tolerance to it. Like, I certainly don't like feeling like shit. I've never liked it. And I guess I've put coping mechanisms into place to avoid it. Never once did I think I'm going to go change the world.
Right. Or even change that person. You're not going to change that person. That person has to change on their own.
It is a disservice overall to not bring that into the fold. When you're constantly shielding people from any negative feelings, that's not going to be helpful in the long run. And I do think it creates overreactions. Well, this thing exists, and instead of it being on me to figure out how to process my feelings and not let it affect me so much, I want to completely eradicate the thing, the cause of it, which is never going to happen.
Right.
That's not a winning battle.
Did that come from PC culture in the 90s? And then all those people grew up to be parents, and then now we're like not letting our kids or ourselves feel anything negative?
Like anything else, I think these things start as good ideas and they come from a decent place.
Yeah.
And then they're hijacked and they're brought to the extreme because you get people involved to make it their identity. And then when you're playing in that sandbox, you've got to one up the last person to prove that you're better than that person. And I don't even know if it's that, I should be that cynical about it to begin with, that people are immediately trying to show each other up. But when you're trying to say, I'm a good person, by nature, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, you're a good person. I need to show that I'm a good person, but you already showed you're a good person by doing this, so I need to take it one step further. And then it gets to this level where it is just pretty ridiculous in many ways.
Yeah.
And
are you actually doing anything?
And it's a turnoff for people who probably would be on board in the first place. Again,
yeah.
Fuck the people who say, I don't want to see a black protagonist. What the fuck's wrong with you? Why do you fucking care? Yeah. Writing stories about all types of people just as people and not calling out their traits, that is the healthiest way to go. You normalize things, you present them.
Because it's not important. It's just like it's not important to say that the person looks like you that's reading. If they don't look like me, or if they don't come from where I'm come from, then I don't know. I don't understand. It's like, no, they're just a person. If they're presented as a person,
you can still relate.
Yes.
And maybe some things you can't relate to, but that's fine. Then maybe you get
curious.
Learn
some.
Yeah, and you learn it and you become curious and you do a little more exploration of that topic.
One topic.
I hate saying that there's this much power in advertising, but to me, when you start to, and advertising is, really in your face and heavy-handed in its own right these days, where it's like the man staying at home and it's an interracial relationship.
Couple. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I know that bothers me because I know these discussions were had. It's like, we need to do this.
It's not that they're interracial couple. It's that they decided to do that because it would be more profitable.
Yeah, it's like, I don't give a shit if they're interracial, but I hate the fucking ad exec who got paid a lot of money to come up with that fucking dumb idea. But that aside, I feel as though when diversity is reflected in advertising, it has more of an impact, because going to movies, reading books, watching TV shows, that's more of a choice. And if you don't feel as though you're going to be interested in the subject matter, then you're not going to watch it. But fucking commercials are in your fucking face. Mm-hmm. And the moment things are reflected in commercials, I think it has a wider impact. And it begins to normalize things, and people don't think about it as much. It is still better than, like, I don't, these books that you're talking about, you've already brought up the other side of it too. It's that, it's capitalism. These ideas have been hijacked for profit, which that's where we are. It's where we have been.
And then also the people who are picking those books up to check them out, they're not looking for their minds to be changed. So what's the point? Do you think, like, there's not little kids who have, prejudiced parents who are then going to the library and seeing those books and saying, like, hey, you know what? Maybe no, first of all, they're not even looking at those books because they don't care. And then even if they do sort of see them and say, oh yeah, there is like a different side. It's up to that growing child, eventually adolescent, who wants to sort of change the dynamic that they came from or something. But it's not from.
Well, you have the parents.
It's not going to be from a book.
You have the parents.
A stupid kid's book.
Well, you have the parents who think, I need to introduce my kid to this because I need them to learn about this now. And we've already discussed that. I feel like at some age, it doesn't have as much of an impact, and it introduces a whole different way of viewing the world that maybe in the long run, similar to the way I say things get extreme, hurts the cause, whatever that cause may be. I guess it's hard to say that would be the case if somebody at 6 years old starts thinking about some of these things. But I think at that point, it also is maybe a bit more confusing.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading Holes with the kids. And in that book, there's this sort of backstory of a lady and a man, and the man was black and the lady was white, and they kissed, and there was a lady that found out about it. And so then they went after both of them and they were going to kill him. And I had to explain to the kids, they were like, what? Why is it illegal for him to kiss her? I was like, 'cause he was black. And back then that was not allowed. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, even that's introducing a concept to them they probably didn't think about.
I know.
Previously.
I know, and I don't like, I mean, I'm fine exposing them to things, like I said, that are crappy, but I also don't want them to be with their friends who are of mixed races and think, oh, I heard something about,
Well, your parents.
Now I know this weird thing about your ancestry that made it me against you or you against me. I don't like that. I don't want that. Just keep being kids.
Well, yeah, if they've, the kid's parents, it's an interracial marriage or pairing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage. And kids, your parents were illegal.
Yeah, right.
At one point. What they're doing was against the law.
She's like, what?
But I guess,
little girl, what?
Look, these were real things. These are real things, and you can't ignore them.
Right. So
it's really just finding the line. How do you balance it? How do you best balance it? How do you introduce these things into your kids' lives?
My whole thing is just giving them the simplest amount of information. And if they come back with questions, then I answer those questions. I don't add all kinds of bullshit that could confuse them or that they can just like parrot back because I've given them my opinion on it. You know what I mean? It's like, I said it was crazy. I said, isn't that crazy? And that's it. And if they want to ask me questions about it, then they can. But if they don't have questions, then they might just not even, either they don't care or they don't really understand it or they're not ready, all that. Just try and like let them drive when it comes to something like that.
Maybe not all kids will ask questions, though. Maybe some kids just sit with things and create their own ideas and narratives around it, and that's what parents are scared of.
Why would they be scared of that?
Because if you're leaving it up to your kid, what kind of ideas do they form? So that's why parents go out of their way to really drive this home. Look, it's not an easy job. Obviously, I'm not a parent. I don't know how I would navigate it. I feel I would be similar to you. It's like, well, kids tend to ask questions, and when they ask the questions, I'll give thoughtful responses and not brush it off. And hopefully that's, good and works.
Yeah, I hope so. But whatever, they'll be fine.
I think that's the approach that a lot of people take. Yeah, they're going to be fine. And then ultimately what happens, they're not fine and they're hellions.
Well, they're going to be hellions no matter what. It's more about them as adults coming back and saying, you did this to me when I was a kid. And that made me this way. And I'll be like, oh, God. Sorry.
I feel by nature at birth, at least in this world, that people aren't inherently bad. I know it's a weird thing for me to say, that it's mostly a learned behavior. Even, if you go in the past, why did people who look different than other people attack those people who look different? I mean, whatever. Humans were tribal.
Right.
You were fighting over land. There were reasons. And, the unknown in itself is a defense mechanism that's built in. It's like, all right, well, question the unknown. Don't just go into something, a survival tactic. So there's some of that at play. But I think for the most part, people are introduced to a lot of these ideas. And sadly, sometimes it comes from the parents. And then when that happens, like, good luck. You're not, like, I don't even know how you can hope that there's enough in the real world that offsets what the parents say. But when you're introducing these notions and ideas to children,
see it. You look for it.
It's the first things that they learn. And then you have to undo that. And maybe at some point they're like, my parents fucking suck. And that's a whole thing to have to come to terms with. And it's probably not as likely as the person carrying on their parents' beliefs. If there's enough in the world now that presents itself, and again, I think just the way the world is, because it makes it harder for someone who wants to dismiss ideas when they can demonize the other side. If it's just being presented naturally as the way the world is, that's a hard thing to fight against. And someone who's racist or homophobic, they look at this as the world, and I guess they can say that the world is wrong, but it's harder to make that point than this person is wrong, this person's bad, don't listen to this person. So I think that's ultimately the place we need to get. If you're not learning these things from your parents, I guess as a parent, it's like, how do you prepare your children to deal with it when they do encounter someone who spews like hateful beliefs? Because you're going to come across them. Hopefully it's not often. Like I even think about growing up. Most of the people I met weren't like that, but there were instances of it. So it still exists. And
yeah, I didn't have a lot of experiences like that as a kid, but from other people.
The way you phrase that, it's like, I didn't have a lot of experiences like that from other people. Where did you get them? From who?
I'm saying, oh yeah, no, nowhere. But I'm saying I wasn't like around white kids that were being racist.
Which is hopefully the way that this is all trending.
Well, I saw some article where this, it wasn't like a white nationalist or something. I don't really even know exactly what that means, but he was a guy who was in charge of some weird group of like white people, you know, being super racist. I don't remember what they're called. They were like, you know, like bringing back America's to, you know, white pride, blah, blah, blah. And he did DMT and he realized how wrong he was. And he like quit all of that. And so they're talking about using, I guess, therapeutic doses of DMT to treat extreme racism as a mental disorder.
Well, on some level, I'm sure it is a mental disorder, similar to the way, well, some people say addiction's a disease, which
yeah,
I've always had my feelings. I think it's a wiring of the brain, and if you want to label that as a disease, I don't put the blame on people for being addicted. I know you can't just stop. I just wouldn't do it. It's like, that's not realistic and demonizing people, but to go as far as saying it's a disease, it's like, I don't know if it's that. It's like a weird coping thing and a wiring of the brain, and I'm not nearly smart enough to speak about it. But, quite often people will go on those trips, ayahuasca or whatever, and it does seemingly help. Like it rewires shit and reframes things in their brain. And I don't know what the long-term effects are. Do people stay off? But
that's the thing. A lot of people that are addicts that use something like ayahuasca, they'll say it works for them, but then they've also done ayahuasca like 12 times. It's like, it doesn't happen just once and they're cured.
Well, fair enough. But it does seem in the short term to have helped some people.
Sure, I guess.
It's anecdotal. I know that.
Listen, are you on the street and nodding out, under a stairwell? It's like, okay, no, you're not. You're spending a lot of money flying to Peru or wherever and doing it. It's like, okay, I guess that's better.
That's the new age drug addict, either stealing money from grandma to book their flight.
To have a spiritual experience in the woods.
Not just to go cop on the street.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of this stuff, the point was it's tied to, your brain and racism, prejudiced beliefs as a mental disorder. I don't know enough about that.
Yeah, I don't either. I just thought it was interesting.
I did see that story. I didn't read it though, about the guy.
Yeah.
Who it reframed all the shit. But ultimately the problem is capitalism. That's what I'm going to bring it back to.
Okay.
Is people needing to make money. So now we're at the point where people know that they can make money off of all of this stuff. So it's been hijacked, packaged, and sold like anything else.
So like keep people racist so that I can keep making money off of them.
I don't know. That's the cynical belief, isn't it? Now you're really getting in there.
That's what you were saying too.
Well, I was just saying people see an opportunity to make money off of it. But yes, You're right. If ultimately the problem was solved, then these people would have no means to make money. So maybe it is in their best interest to continue racism so I can continue to line my pockets. But it's like anything else, any creative idea, any new show that hits TV, the stage, a certain type of art. Once people realize, that's why there's so many copies of it, bad copies. Like, let's just, come on, it's a trend now. Let's make money. Let's hijack this fucking thing and make some money off of it, because that's ultimately all this stuff should exist for in the first place.
Making money.
So any of these people who write these books. It's always been a big market self-help, obviously. I think it's probably just shifted a bit to what the help needs to be. There's always going to be people buying it, and these people are always going to make money off of it. And, the moment someone's in something just to make money, I think you should question what the product is. I mean, sure, there's plenty of things that are helpful. You should just question it. I'm not saying it's always going to be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But, do we need dishwashers?
What?
I was saying anytime a new product comes out, you should question it. So it's like when the dishwasher hit the market, I wonder if there are people like, do we really need this thing?
I bet you there are people like, wasn't it in a Simpsons where like they moved into that real fancy house and everything was automated, so she had nothing to do, and so then she just started drinking in the afternoon.
Yes, that's realistic representation, I think, of the way these things go. Boredom.
Yeah.
When you're bored and you got nothing to do.
Well, I think that's a lot of our society in general. Like we really don't have to do a lot of surviving, so let's just keep complaining and like
fill the gaps
out. And
yes, let's fill the gaps and pass the time until we eventually die, and we can tell ourselves before we die, I did a good job. I'm a good person.
I'm good. All right, everybody. Love you. Like and subscribe, rate and review. Talk to you later. Bye.